Hey, how's everybody doing? This next guest is an awesome real estate investor taking over the single family flip space all across Georgia with his lovely wife and his children, and destroying the idea of a 9 to 5 work schedule to be a boss and make the best life experience for him and his family. Mr. Justin Shipp.
Life is chaotic, but selling your house to us does not have to be. We buy ugly houses like this one all the time. Oh yeah, freedom, baby.
So how you been, man? What you been up to lately?
Are we just gonna wing this?
So I got some questions, but most of it, is just talking back and forth, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I've been good.
Good.
Do you want me to tell any kind of background about how I got started, or just kind of jump into real estate in general?
Yeah, no. So that was actually going to be like one of the first questions I was going to ask you, is kind of like how you, kind of got brought up, and what's your story kind of leading up to before you started in real estate?
Yeah, so I'll kind of keep it brief and simple, just because it'd be a lot to talk about. But I grew up pretty poor. Grew up in Paulding County. Both my parents, low income. We didn't make a lot of money. We kind of barely scraped by.
Right.
By the time I was 8 years old, my dad had passed away. Shortly after that, my childhood home burnt to the ground.
Wow.
And then we basically had to move into a trailer and just crammed into a 2-bedroom trailer with me and my 3 brothers.
Wow.
And it sucked for quite a few years. But I grew up watching my parents struggle, and I remember many, many times asking for something.
Yeah.
And them not being able to get it for me.
Right.
And then moving on up, I was just always in that like hustle and grind, like trying to figure out a way to make more money so I could buy the things I wanted to buy.
Yeah.
So like going into high school, I had a job at 14, working at Burger King. I tried Burger King out for a couple of days. Back then you could get a job at 14.
Yeah.
And 15 years old, I got a job at Ace Hardware. I worked there until I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was only making, $7 an hour, $8 an hour.
Right.
Stacking up money. And basically, when I got out of high school, I was wanting to go to college to learn how to work on cars and motorcycles and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. I know you got a love for that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely have a passion for anything motor related. But,
right.
I was wanting to go to college to MTI as well. I was wanting to go to in Florida to learn how to work on motorcycles. And, it was like $26,000 tuition. I asked my parents if they could help me.
Yeah.
They said no. I had the Hope Scholarship, but they would not cover anything because it was a technical institute, not a regular college.
Oh,
so my
man.
Hope Scholarship that I worked hard for in high school
don't even matter.
Didn't even matter.
Yeah.
So I was
I still think like the smartest person in the world has not been found yet, just because college is too expensive for most people.
And it's not for everybody either.
No, it's definitely not.
There's many, many people I have found since getting into real estate that are absolutely incredibly smart, but they didn't go to college.
Yeah.
And then some of the guys that I know that have went and had multiple degrees, you talk to them and they're kind of like an idiot.
They're kind of slow, like common sense wise,
they're real smart when it comes to book smarts. They obviously have a lot of knowledge, but when you talk to them, man, they're not easy to talk to.
Exactly.
They don't understand like common sense stuff.
Yep, that's exactly right.
It's funny because like the people, to me, in my opinion, that kind of go to college, a lot of them have a sense of that they're better than you and stuff.
Yeah.
But in a lot of ways, they were not able to learn things that people that didn't go to college learned. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that street smart, that quick on your feet learning and stuff like that hustle mindset.
Yep, exactly.
You can't teach that. You can't teach that in school. So a lot of stuff, I don't know if you've ever heard this whole saying, but like drug dealers make the best entrepreneurs.
Yeah, no, I have. I've definitely heard that.
Those guys are like, they had to learn on their own, on the streets, how to make money. And then they built businesses. It might be illegal, but they built full-on business and making a lot of money with their street smarts. They didn't go to college, and those guys make some money.
Yeah.
So just saying, like, there's a lot of stuff you can't teach in school. You just you got to figure it out.
Exactly.
And that's what I did. Didn't go to college. I had to kind of figure out my own way. It took me a lot longer than I would have liked. Of course, I would have loved to have gotten started in real estate at 18 or 19 years old, but I didn't even know this was an option for me.
Right.
You know, I didn't know the first thing about real estate, didn't know the first thing about entrepreneurship or anything like that. So I went on. I was a garbage man for a couple years. I got my CDL license. I was a truck driver for a couple years. I did stunt riding for a little while. Got into painting cars and doing powder coating and a little bit of everything. I painted airplanes for Delta for a little while. Wow. And then I found real estate through actually losing my job at one of the paint shops that I worked at.
Really?
So I lost my job, was asking friends and family and stuff, like, who's hiring?
Yeah.
You know, and I had a friend of mine named Benny. He kind of, you know, sparked an interest in me to join, you know, this group for real estate. I did join the group. I didn't care for it. I'm not going to call it the group or nothing, but it was kind of a waste of money to me.
Oh, was it? Didn't
really teach me what I wanted to know for the amount of money that they wanted you to pay. It was either like it was kind of like going back to college again. It's like, can I pay all this money to go to college, or do I think I can figure this out on my own?
Yeah, there's so many free ways to get that info.
I guess I'll try to figure it out on my own. So I kind of went on a different path, started networking, going to real estate events in my spare time.
Okay.
Meeting up with realtors and wholesalers and investors and attorneys just to ask them questions, just to kind of learn anything that they would be willing to teach me.
Yeah.
And I slowly started putting all these pieces to the puzzle together.
Yeah.
And going, okay, this little bit of information, that little information. And then I kind of made myself understand how it all worked and came together. And I just jumped in from that point on. Like 3 to 6 months later, I started wholesaling.
Okay.
So that's how I got my start into real estate. Is I started wholesaling.
Okay.
I wholesaled for my first 2.5 years in real estate.
Right. Okay.
And then I graduated and slowly got into doing fix and flips.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of money on fix and flips on my first 5.
Really?
I really took a hit, like almost bankrupted me.
Really, that bad? Did you have them all going at once, or was it?
So I jumped in my very, very first time ever doing any kind of flips. I jumped into 2 at one time.
Oh, wow.
And they were right next door to each other. I bought them as a package deal from the same owner.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll give you this much money for both of them. And she agreed, and we bought them. And they ended up being way worse than I ever imagined. Once we got in there. And then there was a guy I went to high school with. I'm not going to call out his name either because I'm just not that person. But this guy I went to high school with, he burned me. He said it was going to cost X amount of dollars. Ended up costing way more than that. In addition, him and his team was not very reliable. They kept missing work. They'd come in once a week or something. Shit was just not getting done.
Yeah, exactly.
And I ended up having to fire him, hired some new crews. This crew was like top notch, but they were super expensive. And same thing with them, they were not very reliable though. So they would come in like 2 or 3 days, do a lot of work, and then they'd be gone for like 2 or 3 days on another job.
Yeah, yeah.
And so stuff still was not really getting done like it was supposed to, and I was having to self-manage, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
So it was definitely a huge learning curve.
Yeah.
But we finally got those houses sold. I didn't make a dime on them. In fact, I lost a couple $1,000s easily.
Really?
Out of my own pocket. Had hard money loans with both of them.
So is that how you got your financing for both of them? You went through hard money?
I used a hard money loan and used profits from my wholesaling to, pay.
Okay, yeah.
So it went good. I ain't going to say, just because I lost money though, I learned a lot.
Right.
It was like going to college, but off the deep end, man. I learned a ton in a short amount of time.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was really, really good learning experience. And then it really changed my outlook on investors and how I was running my wholesaling business at the time. Because I was like, man, I really need these at even deeper discounts for my investors to be able to make money.
Yeah.
And for me to still make any kind of profit on it as well.
Right.
So I started going really, really aggressive with like my offers and understanding how to make better offers and just having a better understanding of what a rehab entails.
Yeah.
So like when I was going on properties beforehand, I might have gone into a house and been like, oh, this looks like a $40,000 rehab. After doing my flips, I'd go into a house and I go, this is definitely a $60,000, $70,000 rehab.
Yeah.
Because I understood the numbers better.
Right.
So that helped me become a way better investor just because then I had hands-on experience of what it costed for my houses that I had, and then I could apply that to when I started walking houses, and I really started paying more attention to how things were in houses. Like, just because this looks good or that looks good does not mean underneath is good or whatever.
Yeah.
So like now, you know, I see wholesalers all the time. They'll be posting up these properties and they'll put like $40,000 rehab, and I'm like,
and it's not.
I can guarantee you, at $65 a square foot, which is what that house looks like it needs, that's going to be $100,000 rehab.
Yeah, right.
Or $80,000 rehab, whatever.
Yeah.
So like people ask me all the time, like, how do you run your rehab numbers? And you know, I can break it down.
Yeah, give us a breakdown on how you run your numbers.
So cosmetic rehabs for us, on average, are going to be anywhere from $50 a square foot to $65 a square foot. There's a lot of variables in there.
Right.
And then you go up a little higher, maybe like a moderate rehab, where you're going to have to do pretty much a full update on the entire house, maybe a couple of major foundation, or not foundation issues, but let's say maybe a roof or HVAC or something needs replaced.
Right.
Other major stuff might need, you know, work on. Maybe it needs some electrical work, plumbing work, something like that. It's going to be somewhere between probably $70 to $80 a square foot.
Okay.
And then if it's going to be a full gut rehab, you know, you're probably looking at minimum $85 to $95 a square foot.
Right.
And then let's say like maybe like a burnout house, like it's been caught on fire.
Yeah.
Burnt. Depending on the severity of the house, how bad it got burned, you're looking at somewhere between maybe $100 a square foot to maybe $110, $115 a square foot.
Okay.
And then new construction, depending on where you're at, the level of finishes, you know, are you doing a contractor grade or are you doing like kind of nicer higher end? Anywhere from $130 a square foot up to sometimes like $170, $180 a square foot.
Okay.
I'd say on average like $150 a square foot for a normal house.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are kind of average numbers. Of course, sometimes it can be a little lower or a little bit higher, but on average, I mean, most of our rehabs that we're doing is going to be somewhere around $65 a square foot.
Right.
On average.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have a house that we just bought over in Well, actually, we have 7 rehabs going on right now, by the way.
Okay, yeah, I was actually going to ask you that. Like, how many projects do y'all have actively going right now?
On any given month, we buy anywhere from, let's say, 5 to 10 houses per month. Now, some of those might be rentals. Some of them we might do very, very mild or light cleanups on. We might do some small repairs and list them on MLS, but the majority of them we're flipping.
Okay.
So, let's say we bought 10 houses a month. 2 or 3 of them might be rentals. 2 or 3 of them we might do hotels, where we just kind of do minor stuff and then list them right back on the market. And then 5 or so is going to be flips. On average.
I get you.
So right now we have 7 flips going on right now though, and then we have 3 or 4 ready to go. Like as soon as we're finished with those.
Okay.
As of right now, we have 4, I believe, on the market right now.
4 on market. Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's.
We try to keep a lot of volume at once, and that's kind of how we rotate. We're not trying to make home runs on every deal we make.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are like looking for those $50,000 to $100,000 spreads. You know, those are hard to come by.
Right.
So we work mostly on volume.
Yeah.
If we can at least keep 5 to 10 flips going at all times, and we're making 20 or 30 grand per flip, I mean, we're making good money.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Especially right now, because there's really not there's not a crap ton of inventory just sitting out there, you know.
And so we've gotten pretty aggressive with our offers. I mean, I know a lot of investors right now are kind of lowballing people and stuff.
Yeah. And
they're offering, you know, like 60 cents on the dollar and stuff like that. We're typically around 75 to 77%.
Okay.
Minus repairs.
Right.
So it just depends on how much work the house is going to need and what we can offer, of course. For our rentals, you know, we might go up to like 80, 81%, 82%, you know, of the ARV.
Yeah. How do you decide whether it's going to be a rental or a flip for y'all?
Typically, we really don't know.
You don't? Okay. Hey, that's an honest answer right there.
To be honest with you, like a lot of times we'll buy something and then let's say we buy it and we flip it and then we're not getting a lot of traction on it. Like we just don't have a lot of showings or whatever. We'll usually give it like 3 or 4 weeks. If we don't have no serious offers on it, we'll just go ahead and file for a lender loan, and then we'll just go ahead and just refinance into a rental and just move.
Okay.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, so it's like a backup plan, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's more or less like if something's just not moving fast enough.
Right.
We just want to get our money back as quick as possible. So we'll just well, screw it. We'll just refinance it. We'll pull out 70% of our money back. We'll just turn that one to a rental. We'll keep the 70% moving.
Okay. Yeah.
So It just depends on what it is. Now, sometimes we do go into a house and we're like, man, this house don't really need anything. It looks really good. It's in a really hot area.
Mm-hmm.
The price is good enough that we don't really have to do nothing to it, and we can still refinance and get most of our money out. We might just go into it just buying it as a rental, but that don't happen a whole lot.
Right.
We did just buy one actually yesterday. We just bought one yesterday in Dallas off of Marshall Fuller Road, and an investor had bought it a few months ago, fully renovated it. Not quite to our level of standards, but it looks pretty dang close. I mean,
so you don't got to do much to it if you do anything.
I mean, it's like 95% renovated. There's a few things that we probably would want to do, but as a rental, it don't really need to be done.
Okay.
Like, I didn't like how they did the deck, and like the landscaping looks kind of crappy.
Okay.
But like the inside looks great, and the outside of the house on average looks good.
Yeah.
It's got a newer roof, newer HVAC. I mean, overall the house looks great.
Right.
So it's rent ready.
Yeah.
So we bought that one for $178, and it appraised at $254.
Oh wow.
So there's a good margin there, and it's already been renovated. So after we refinanced it, which we bought it yesterday, so we financed it right out of the gate. So we financed it at $130. So $130,000 is what the lender gave us for it, because they base it off of like 70 or 75% of whatever we're paying for it.
Okay.
Or whatever. Sometimes they do it off of appraised value. So whatever it is, I can't remember how they did this one because we got so much going on right now. But however they ran this one, they was able to give us $130,000. So we had to come out of pocket $40-something thousand to buy it. Okay. Our mortgage payments $1,180 a month.
Okay.
And it should rent for $1,750 a month.
Okay. So you're cash flowing right out the gate.
So it's gonna cash flow pretty well, with only $40-something thousand out of our pocket.
Right.
So it's not a bad deal.
No.
It, like I said, it already appraised for $254.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I mean, it's good to go. It's already worth, $60,000-$70,000 more than what we paid for it.
Yeah.
So that's a good deal for us. It's not to me, it's not a slam dunk where it's like, oh my God, that's the best deal ever. But it's a good deal.
Yeah.
I mean, a solid deal.
Exactly.
So that's the kind of stuff we look for. It's funny on that one, a wholesaler had reached out to me, and I'd never worked with this wholesaler before, and this one was kind of a funny deal because we was using a different lender, and the lender was a little bit difficult this go around.
Yeah.
As far as their paperwork and stuff that they were wanting. But overall, we got this thing closed in 3 weeks.
Okay.
With a lender involved, and this wholesaler that we worked with was a really good wholesaler, and
she's checking because last time she knows that I messed up, so she's like just making sure it's going.
So this wholesaler we worked with, he's a great wholesaler. This is my first time ever buying a deal from him, so hopefully we'll be buying more from him. But he had originally sent this to us for $190. And I was on the fence about it. I was like, I really don't know if I want to buy that one for $190, because I honestly, when I ran comps, I had it at a $225 ARV.
Okay.
Like, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what all the houses nearby were selling for. So I was actually really surprised that it appraised for $254.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was going to appraise maybe max $230.
Wow.
So I was like, that's pretty tight, man.
Yeah.
You're asking $190, it's worth, $220,
$225,
maybe $230. I was like, there's a few things that I'd still change on it, but overall it's pretty renovated. I'd say this is a good one just to list on market. I don't think that an investor is going to pay this.
Yeah.
So he was like going back and forth with me a little bit, and he was like, well, what, out of curiosity, what price would you pay for it? And I was like, I don't know. I'd probably want it like $160 to be safe, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 220, 70% of that, like 160 something.
Yeah.
He's like, would you do like 175? Yeah, I could probably swing that. It's a little tighter of a deal, but screw it. If we keep it as a rental, then we'll get our money back long term.
Yeah.
So we just went ahead and was like, I guess we'll overpay a little bit for it. It's not a big deal.
But you took a swing and didn't even overpay.
Yeah. So it actually ended up working out great because once we put under contract, we went ahead and had our lender send an appraiser out there just to check it.
Yeah.
And they came back at $254, and we were like, Well, actually, this is a pretty decent deal then.
Yeah, that's awesome. So are you definitely going to keep that as a rental, or are you thinking about maybe flipping it?
No, we're keeping it as a rental. We've actually already started the underwriting process for property. We have a property management company called Porch Property Management that my business partner is part owner of. So we have the property management company already underwriting it, getting everything ready to go ahead and list it as a rental.
Awesome.
By the end of the week. So
awesome. Yeah.
Work quick.
Hopefully that gets in. Yeah. Now, as far as like you scaling, I feel like you kind of scaled quick. Like, how are you able to keep growing so fast?
I think it's more about perception.
Okay.
I think people perceived that I grew really quickly, but I think overall I grew at a normal pace.
You think so?
Maybe I grew a little faster than most people. But when I first started, one thing I noticed that a lot of people were doing was everybody was doing the same things. Everybody was cold calling, everybody was text blasting, and everybody was sending direct mail.
Yeah, people still do that.
So, and people are still doing it.
Yeah.
So, I did things differently. For one, I didn't want to spend a lot of money. I just wanted to keep my costs as low as possible.
Right.
So, the first couple years I was in real estate, I strictly focused on door knocking and driving for dollars looking for people, and then writing handwritten notes and putting on people's doors. Like, I was keeping my costs as low as possible. And I was closing 2 to 3 deals a month, almost pretty consistently for 2.5 years.
Awesome.
And then me and my buddy Jock and Preston, we all partnered up together, and we decided to scale things up. So for a little while, we opened up an office for about a year and a half. We opened up an office. We hired like 10 employees. We had all these acquisition guys. We also had cold callers overseas. We were cold calling 30. We went from door knocking to cold calling and text blasting probably between 30 and 40,000 people a month.
Okay.
And
how many, like, what was the ratio? Like,
we was closing approximately 20 to 25 deals a month.
Okay.
So really, I mean, we went from me by myself doing 3 deals a month to 20, 25 deals a month.
Right. How many people did it take you to get those 25, you think, to get in contact with?
I mean, we were talking to minimum 500 to 600 people a day.
Okay. Yeah.
To get 20 deals a month.
Right.
So, I mean, we was talking to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, it was like you had to talk to 20 times more people to get 3 times, 4 times, 5 times more results or whatever.
Yeah.
Versus when I was door knocking, I was probably door knocking maybe 100 to 150 houses a month to get 3 deals.
Wow.
You know, it was a lot more time consuming, but I feel like the close ratio was way greater.
Way higher than the calls. Because you get that face-to-face, meeting. Most people like that better.
It really cuts down on how long it takes you to build rapport. And I talk about this one a lot. I know people have heard this story a couple of times because I've talked about it at a couple of the events I've spoken at and a couple of the other podcasts. But I remember a buddy of mine a couple years ago had been calling this guy for 2 years straight. 2 years. Every single month he'd call this guy.
Yeah.
And the guy had 12 houses for sale.
Wow.
All right. Or 10 or 12 houses that he owned, my bad. And my buddy had been calling this guy, talking to him monthly. And the guy was like, yeah, I'm not quite ready to sell yet, blah, blah.
But he's just dripping on him,
Yeah. Then one day, I did not know he was after him. I did not know he was talking to this guy, nothing. I mean, it was just random. But I happened to see a house in a neighborhood that looked vacant. I skip traced the guy. He had a bunch of properties. I just looked for the one that was the most expensive. I was like, well, he owns all these properties. Probably the most expensive one's the one he lives in.
Yeah, exactly.
So I found it. It was in Marietta. One day I was in Marietta. I just drove by his house, knocked on his door. His wife came to the door. She's like, how can I help you? I said, your husband owns a bunch of houses and I'm wanting to buy one of them. She goes, my husband don't own any house but this one. I was like, maybe I have the wrong house. I don't know. I was like, it's showing on tax records that he has all these houses and this is his mailing address. She goes, I think you have the wrong person. I was like, well, here's my card. Can you just have Doug call me when he gets home?
Yeah. He must be keeping something hidden or something.
So he called me when he got home and he came outside and he was like, hey, look, man, he's like, she don't know about all these other houses.
Wow.
I bought these houses before we ever got married, and these were rentals. They were supposed to be like my retirement plan.
Yeah.
He goes, I got upside down on these, and basically, I got into a situation. I didn't know how to handle this. I don't know how to property manage all these rentals and stuff, and none of them are rented now, and they're all just sitting vacant.
Oh,
he goes,
man.
I want to sell all of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. So we actually met the next day and signed a contract at KFC.
Wow.
And on that one house, he goes, if this house goes well, we'll keep the train moving. We'll once a month we'll just sell every house.
That's awesome.
So I bought every house from him over the course of like 2 years.
Wow.
Whatever. Like we planned it out like every other month or whatever.
Yeah.
And I bought that house. Anyways, I told my buddy about it. I was like, man, I just locked up this house over here. It's an awesome deal. He was like, wait a second. I've been calling that guy for 2 years. So my point being, when you go talk to someone in person, you're cutting down on the amount of rapport building you have to do.
Yeah, 100%.
When you're on the phone, they don't know who you're talking to.
No, they don't.
Talking to. They don't know if you're a spam call.
They're ready to hang that phone up.
They're expecting for you to piss them off to hang up.
Yep.
When you go talk to someone in person, it's a lot faster to build rapport with them.
Exactly.
It's a lot easier for them to trust you. They can put a face to the name right there.
100%.
They can read your body language. They can read the way you speak to them. Everything. I mean, your posture, everything. So, I don't know. I'm a big fan of going and talking to people in person.
Yeah.
I'm old school that way. I know a lot of people have gotten to where they're locking up deals through text, on the phone, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's great if you can do that.
Right.
But in my opinion, when you go talk to someone face to face, you can build that rapport so much faster and build such a better and quicker bond with them to be able to get the deal done. And you can build that trust in a relationship where they're going to trust you.
Yeah.
Make sure that house goes to the closing table.
Right. For sure. I think it also depends on like what point in your career you're kind of in, because like you get to a certain point where it's like, well, I can't just sit here and go knock on doors. I got to do all this,
Absolutely.
And it's like social media and all that is just.
And I'm definitely at that point now. So kind of going back to your question about scaling.
Yeah.
So I did the door knocking thing and direct. I did some direct mail for a little while. I was leaving flyers on people's doors, stuff like that. And then I eventually partnered up with Jock and Preston, and we did our thing for about a year and a half, doing it that way. But what I found was I didn't like the route that we was going. Like the path that we was going down was, I'd gotten to where I didn't really enjoy doing real estate no more.
Really?
When we was all three partnered up, it was like a battle. Like every month, like we was trying to figure out where we wanted to allocate funds to, and we was spending $20,000-$30,000 a month on all this marketing and employees and everything else. And it was kind of during COVID, really, that I finally decided I kind of had enough. So we shut down our office, and me and our business partners kind of went our separate ways for a little while. And then me and Preston decided to basically partner up, just me and him. And we're doing things kind of old school, like I used to when I was doing the wholesaling thing.
Yeah.
We built out a team. We got like 7 employees now. They all go door knocking.
Okay.
They post on social media. They write letters, handwritten letters. They put flyers on people's doors. We don't do calling and texting at all unless it is for specific houses. Like if they drive around and look for houses, the houses that they find, they make a list of, or we'll pull certain specific lists like probate list or pre-foreclosure list.
Okay.
Those are the only people they were calling. So we're calling a very niche amount of people. So instead of calling 36,000 people,
it narrows it down.
We're calling maybe 500 people a month.
Right.
So we're getting in touch with people that are the most motivated to possibly want to sell their house, not just everybody.
Yeah, because they make your ratios go up. You don't have to call as many, but you get more closed.
Right now, we're locking up, like I said, between 5 and 10 houses a month. We got a good steady income coming in. Got a good flow of houses. Most of our guys are, doing pretty well. They're kind of getting the hang of it. We're focusing most of our attention now on mostly social media marketing, as you can see over the last couple of years.
Yeah, for sure.
We've really increased that a lot. We do have billboards. We do direct mail every once in a while for certain counties and stuff like that. But for the most part, all of our marketing is strictly videos on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Wow.
So
that's
awesome. How we're
awesome.
getting actually most of our deals. So most of the people,
Yeah.
they'll see our videos on Facebook, and then they send us a message going, "Hey, I saw your video. That was a really funny video, or that was a really cool video, or whatever."
Yeah.
Hey, my aunt has a house that she's wanting to sell, or my friend just lost her dad in an accident, and they want to sell his dad's house, but they don't know what to do.
Right.
Or my friend's going through a foreclosure and don't know what to do.
That's
So
awesome.
a lot of the stuff we're getting now is directly related to the social media that we're pushing out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Have you found like is there any like certain things that you do to get your videos out in front of the right people, or?
So we're not really posting up ads. Like,
okay.
I know a lot of people really push the ads and stuff. We're trying to do everything we can organically.
Right.
So it's more natural and it's more steady growth. A lot of people spend thousands of dollars a month on SEO and ad spend and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're not spending any money other than what it costs us to do the videos and stuff, which we have a full-time videographer on staff.
Okay.
So we basically pay our video guy $50,000 a year, and all he does is work for us full-time shooting videos, following us around, and editing and stuff.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
We're paying $50,000 a year just to shoot videos for social media.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's pretty much all of our ad spend. All of our billboards we paid up front. We paid like $76,000 for the whole year.
Mm-hmm. How many billboards was that, by the way? I seen a picture of them, but
I think we have 9 or 10 right now.
Okay.
So we're actually getting ready to cancel all of them. They're actually coming due. I think it's actually this month. They're supposed to be coming down. And they actually just called me the other day and asked me if we wanted to renew them or keep them up or add more or whatever. But we're actually canceling all of them because out of 9 billboards, I think it's 9 billboards we have, but out of 9 billboards last year, we had maybe 5 calls from billboards.
Yeah.
From actual sellers. Maybe another 15 or 20 calls from wholesalers and realtors. But out of all the calls and stuff we've gotten, we've only gotten 1 deal off our billboards.
Yeah.
So 1 single deal, we bought it as a rental. It was an okay deal. Not a super great deal, but we bought it.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that the billboards are kind of tough.
Billboards are tough unless you're doing like Glenda Mitchell and got like or Mark Spain,
Dude, you can travel 5 states over. There's going to be a Glenda Mitchell billboard.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm friends with her on Facebook, and I reached out to her one day. I was like, how much money are you spending on billboards?
Oh.
And she's like, it's a lot. I was like, triple digits? She goes, oh, yeah.
Oh.
She goes, multiple triple digits.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's spending, a couple $100,000 a year on billboards.
Oh, yeah. Funny story about that, actually, Glenda Mitchell. I was eating at this like hole-in-the-wall barbecue place, and like I swear, most people have no clue it's there, right? It's just in the middle of nowhere, kind of, and it was out there near Carroll County.
Okay.
And I went there, and I ate. It's called Fat Fields. I don't know if you ever been there.
I have not.
But I went out there, and we sit down. We're ordering our food. They bring us our drinks, and I look at my cup. And I turned around, right there on the cup, Glenda Mitchell. I was like, are you kidding me?
It's funny you say that because I've actually had a couple of small hole-in-the-wall places hit me up, asking if I wanted like my name on the cups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I did it. There's actually 2 restaurants down in Rockmart that I paid. It was cheap. It was like, they wanted only like, I don't know, like $200 to put my logo on like 100 cups.
Yeah, it's probably just paying for the cups.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I mean, I probably would never get a deal from it, but if I get 1 single deal, I mean, tenfold.
Yeah, exactly.
For a $200 cup. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I actually went there one day just to eat breakfast just to see, and brought my cup, and of course my logo's on it.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
so,
that's
it's
cool.
on there, but I mean, a lot of that stuff is old school forms of marketing, and that stuff just don't work very well anymore. Mm-mm. It's kind of like reading a newspaper. Like no one really reads the newspaper anymore.
Exactly.
So now we're in a whole different time now. I mean, where we are in society right now is everybody is, I mean, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, that is the new newspaper. Exactly. People don't want to read a paper. They just want the highlights. Yeah. So they just scroll through. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
Yep.
I mean, you can get the news on TikTok faster than you can the actual news.
Exactly.
If it...
And think about, and with the restaurant thing, I mean, you sit down, you see people eating every day. What are they doing?
Oh, yeah. Scrolling.
Just like this. They're not paying attention to the cup or anything. They're looking dead at their phone.
Yeah. If you're not marketing on social media in this day and age, you're falling behind. Behind. Like, this is like the number one way to catch traction in your company.
100%.
If you're not online, get online yesterday.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if you're not, even
the short form content, especially the short form content, is blowing everything else out of the water. Long form content, I've been researching it lately. long form content just does not convert nearly as much as short term because people's attention spans, like you said, are just TikTok has ruined people from sitting there and watching it.
And the biggest thing too is like people don't realize this, but real estate, you're not really in real estate as a real estate company. Real estate's a marketing business.
Oh yeah,
like
100%.
People want to do business with people they like or people they, follow and stuff like that. People they trust.
Yep.
So like, you marketing is the absolute most critical, most important part of your business. So like, really, if you're in the wholesaling business, flipping business, rental business, whatever, even if you're an agent, like the number one way to get deals is be marketing yourself constantly. Like, have you heard of this guy? I probably shoot myself in the foot here, but have you heard of this guy named Justin Mercer?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Out of Arizona.
Yeah.
That dude is like the king of marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. Like
he does market well.
Like 3 years ago is when he started.
Mm-hmm.
And in 3 years, he has blown up.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like probably the biggest agent in Arizona and stuff.
Yeah.
And, he's like covered in tattoos. He's crazy as hell, wild. So he kind of reminds me of myself a little bit, but even wilder.
But that's exactly what he wants, though. He wants people to feel like, oh, he reminds me of me. Yeah. He's a cool guy. He's regular like me.
But I like him. But his marketing is off the chain.
Yeah.
And his business would not be 1/30th of what it is now if he was not marketing.
Right.
The reason he blew up is because he's marketing really well.
100%. 100%.
So for all you agents, wholesalers, investors, like, make sure you're marketing. If I don't know that you're in real estate, I'm never going to do business with you.
That's exactly right.
I mean, that's what I tell everybody all the time. Like, you see me constantly posting on Facebook because I want people to be constantly reminded that I'm in real estate. So when they decide that they want to sell their house, or when they decide that conversation they had with their mom last night about her wanting to sell her house, they think of me first.
Yep.
And that's what has gotten me the most business directly is organic lead generation by marketing constantly.
I just don't think you can grow a business today without it.
It's damn near impossible. Have you ever read that book, The Purple Cow?
I have not. Purple Cow.
It kind of talks a lot about this, like old school forms of marketing, like ads on TV, ads in newspapers, stuff like that, billboards. They just don't work anymore. Like in today's style of marketing and stuff, people they want stuff that stands out. Like the old boring forms of marketing and the old boring forms of products and stuff, they don't work no more.
Exactly.
Like, we're in a day and age where people want everything that's different. So it's like, if you are the one that stands out, if you're in a field of black and white cows and you're a purple cow, you're the one that people want because you stand out.
That's exactly right.
Like, oh man, I haven't seen a purple cow before, I want that.
Right. Yeah.
So same thing with real estate in general. Like, if you're doing the same boring techniques that every other agent's doing or every other investor's doing, you might have okay results.
Yeah.
You might play. You're gonna have it safe. You're gonna, if you play it safe, you might have okay results.
Exactly.
Maybe, if you're consistent with it, at least. But if you want exceptional results,
you gotta stand
out. You
out.
have to also be exceptional.
Yeah.
You have to be standing out. You have to be doing things that are different.
That's 100%. I mean, if you don't want to be ordinary, you can't do ordinary things.
Yeah.
So
that's the whole reason we kind of rotated toward the marketing and specifically trying to do like kind of funny videos.
Yeah. I seen your skits where there was like what was it? I think it was like a homeless person was in the house or something like that, and you chased him out or something like that.
Yeah, guy was spray painting on the walls. On that veteran's house. We actually are about to sell that house finally. Oh my God. That house took a year to renovate. That house took a year to renovate.
What took it so long?
Oh my God. It was an Allstel. Allstel was giving us all kinds of like permitting problems.
Gosh.
Basically wanting us to, they basically wanted us to tear down the house and just rebuild a whole new house. But the house was like in decent enough shape that we could salvage it, so there was like no reason to do that. So as we're rebuilding it, they kept going, oh, well, that's not going to pass inspection, so you got to do it this way to pass inspection. And then they come over there and they're like, oh, well, we don't like the way you did this, so you need to do it this way. And we have architectural engineer on our staff. We have 3 GCs on staff.
Dang.
So I mean, like, we have like good contractors.
Yeah.
That know what the heck they're doing.
Isn't that crazy? There's no check for those inspectors. Like they can literally just come out and be like, no, that's got to be fixed.
It was like stuff that like makes 0 sense. Like they were wanting us to foam insulate the entire house to make it structurally stronger and stuff. It was like, what?
What?
Like, no one does that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, whatever. So we ended up like foam insulating like almost the whole house.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane.
They're monopolies.
That house right there, though, that house is solid. That house is going to be built good.
Yeah, it's going to be built good.
It took us a year to build that house. It's insanely well done. We had multiple problems out of it, so everything's been redone on that whole house. But we thought we was going to take a huge loss on the house because with all the stuff that Austell made us do, we originally went into that house. We bought it for $112,000. We originally had it estimated at $140K rehab. We're all in on the rehab at $196.
Oof.
So we're $220.
Yeah.
Or $215 or whatever. Sorry, $315. Sorry, my bad.
Okay.
$315 all in on that house.
Wow.
And we had it listed for like $379.
Okay.
But we kind of posted it up pretty high, hoping that we would make some profit on it.
Right.
So honestly, we thought we was going to probably sell it like $330, $340. So once you do all the math and on everything, we might have made like $5,000 or something.
Okay.
We're actually going to make some money on it now because we actually got to offer it like $360 something.
Oh wow,
so
that's awesome, man!
Make a little bit of money on it, so which is really.
You binding on that yet?
What's that?
You binding on that?
Yeah, it's binding.
Okay.
It actually closes hopefully like next week maybe.
Awesome.
So it took a whole year to do. I mean, we're not making a home run killing.
Yeah, but hey,
but we're making money on it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that it's finally getting to the closing table.
Yeah, it's better than what you thought it was going to do. So that's great, dude. Yeah. So as far as I kind of wanted to ask you this because I asked Kyle the same thing, but what was like your best, most profitable deal to date? If you can remember it, I'm sure you can.
I do remember.
I'm sure you can.
It's actually funny. We was at a. Have you heard of Hut Up or Shut Up?
Yeah.
So I was at that event speaking like 2 months ago.
Okay.
And this was one of the questions or one of the presentations that they wanted me to present on.
Gotcha.
What was my most profitable deal I've ever done? And it actually leads back to the same conversation I just had earlier about the house, the Doug with the 10 to 12 houses.
Okay.
So I had bought all these houses from Doug.
Right.
Over the course of 2 years, and that was back when I was I just transferred from wholesaling to flipping, so I was doing like half and half at the time.
Okay.
I was doing some wholesale,
doing wholesale
flips.
for funds, and then
and we were still flipping some houses and stuff. So I did most of the houses I bought from him. We actually wholesaled most of them.
Okay.
Well, fast forward like 5 years later, and it was actually last year. Last year, I had a buddy of mine who's a landscaper who was driving through a neighborhood in Carrollton and saw a vacant house that was in a really nice like golf community neighborhood.
Wow.
And the grass was like 4 foot tall and it was crazy overgrown and stuff. Yeah. I was like, dude, there's just like a badass house in this nice neighborhood that's just sitting vacant. You should go check it out. So I went and looked at it, and the houses in the neighborhood were going for $350 to $450.
Okay.
On average. So let's say $400,000. And I look up the address, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. It's Doug. I thought I bought all his houses.
Oh, so he had more they just didn't tell you about.
He had 2 more houses he didn't tell me about that were not related to his name on tax records for some reason. It was like, I guess his name on those 2 houses was slightly different.
Okay.
And like maybe they went by his middle name or something. I can't remember. But anyways, it showed his name, and I recognized it. And I was like, no way. So I called Doug, and I was like, Doug, do you happen to own a house over here in Carrollton off this road? He goes, yeah, I do. I was like, so you remember me, right? This is Justin that bought all your houses. He goes, yeah, I remember you. I was like, why didn't you tell me about these other 2 houses you got? Or, no, sorry, I didn't even know about the second house yet. I was like, why didn't you tell me about this last house you had?
Yeah.
He goes, well, actually, I got another house, too. I got 2 houses. I was like, are those the last 2? He goes, I swear they are. The last 2 houses.
No, I got 10 more hidden in the back.
I was like, so, Doug, what do you want to do with these houses? He goes, well, I'd love to sell them, but I can't. I said, why can't you? He goes, well, that house in Carrollton has a $150,000 lien on it. I said, $150,000 lien on it? For what?
Yeah.
He goes, from the HOA. I said, what? He goes, I think it's like 150. He goes, I don't know the exact number, but he goes, I can give you their. He's like, I haven't lived in that house in years, and he goes, I haven't rented it in years. He goes, in fact, I don't even know if there's anyone living in it now. He goes, I haven't collected rent in like 5 years.
Oh my.
I was like, what? I was like, Doug. I was like, I don't think no one's living here. It looks vacant. He goes, Well, I don't have a key to it or nothing.
Oh, man.
I was like, all right, I'm going to call you back. I'm going to reach out to the HOA. I'm going to see what that lien's for and if we can resolve it. I was like, if we can resolve the lien, how much do you want for the house? He goes, man, I'll take payoff. I said, well, what's payoff? He said, I don't know. It's like maybe a little over 100. I said, are you serious?
Heck yeah.
I was like, all right, deal. I was like, let me reach out and see what I can find out.
Right.
Even if we would have bought it for that with the lien, you're talking $250,000.
Yeah.
It's worth $400.
Right.
So it needed a lot of work though. It was a big ass house. It was probably 3,000 square foot house.
Okay, so yeah.
And it would have costed a lot to fix it up.
Right.
So, needless to say, all right, we reach out to the HOA, and I said, hey, I'm looking at buying Doug's house. I'm a friend of Doug. He's wanting to sell me his house, but before we can do that, we need to find out about this HOA lien. He says there's like $150,000 lien on it. She goes, well, it's actually $129,000. I said, well, that's a little better, but what can we do to work this out?
Right.
And she was like, well, you can pay us $129,000. I said, well, I was like, what are y'all going to do if we don't pay it? She goes, well, we're going to foreclose on the house. I said, I'm sure y'all don't want to have to deal with
that
foreclosing on the house stuff. What can we work out to get this lien resolved? I will pay some money, but I'm not paying $129,000.
Exactly.
She's like, well, first thing, before we even negotiate anything, you need to do everything on this checklist that we need him to bring up to code for that house because we're in a nice neighborhood and he's let that house go. I said, all right, give me the checklist. So it was like cut down like 3 trees in the backyard, cut all the shrubs and bushes, mulch the front yard.
Stuff you're going to do anyways.
Yeah, cut the grass. She goes, there was some gutters missing and stuff, fix the gutters.
Yeah.
Basically, it was all landscaping, pressure washing. Like the driveway had like grass growing on the driveway in this nice ass neighborhood. So it was like, get rid of all the grass in the driveway and like pressure wash and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, deal. So I was like, Doug, look, go ahead and sign a contract with me stating, you'll sell me the house for, I was like, what's the payoff? He goes, it's $107,000. I was like, I'll give you $125,000.
Okay.
I was like, that way you walk away with some money.
Yeah.
It's worth your deal. Your time. He goes, okay. I was like, we'll do that, but it's contingent on getting the HOA lien down, and we'll put that in the stipulation.
Yeah.
He said, okay. And I was like, and also, it's going to state in there that I'm paying whatever it's costing for me to get all this stuff up to code. That's on me. I will pay that. You're not responsible for it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to pay all this stuff to get it done before we can close on it.
Right.
So he was like, okay, deal. So we signed the contract. I paid like $5,000 to get the whole house, like pressure wash, yard cut, bushes trimmed, mulched down, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. It looked great after we did that. So then I called the HOA back, sent them pictures. I said, hey, look, I did everything y'all needed me to do. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
What now? She goes, well, how much can you pay? I said, well,
low ball that.
I'd like to pay like maybe like $20,000
yeah.
max. She's like, if you can do $25,000, we'll do it.
Heck yeah.
So we paid $25,000. So we paid all in $155,000
yeah.
for this property. All right. We then found after we closed on it, maybe a couple days later, we turned the water on and the septic tank was like backed up and it was like going into the house and stuff. Like the whole septic tank was fucked. So we basically ended up having to replace the septic tank, part of the water lines, and the back door, and a couple other small stuff. The inside needed a full update.
Okay.
And it needed to trash out. So we cleaned out the whole house, junked it all out, and basically had an empty shell ready to go. Mm-hmm. Well, while we were working on it, we was about to start the rehab.
Yeah.
We was cleaning it out. While we was working on it, I forget which company it was, but there was a hedge fund manager or a hedge fund contractor or whatever going to the neighborhood. Apparently they owned a house in that neighborhood as a rental. And they stopped by and they were like, hey, they were talking to one of our contractors. They were like, hey, what are y'all doing with that house? We're like, well, we're getting ready to rehab it. They're like, well, we'll buy it from you. Let me get my manager on the phone. So they called and they made us an offer for like, it was insane. So we bought it for $155,000. I want to say they offered us like $289,000 for it as is.
Okay.
So it was like, okay.
Yeah.
So we sold it and we cleared like $130,000
yeah, I was about to say.
profit on a house we didn't even rehab. All we did was replace.
All you did is pull everything out, right?
We basically replaced the. By the time they had bought it, we had replaced the HVAC, the septic tank, and the back door, and then did the landscaping stuff. So we had like, let's say like maybe $19,000 in it.
Okay.
Total. So we had like, let's say 170 something.
Yeah.
I think, and then we sold it for $289. I think is what we sold it for.
That's awesome.
So we made like $100. I want to say it was like $120,000 when it was all said and done. It was $120,000 profit.
And you didn't have to do that much work for it.
Yeah, we only worked on it for like a week.
Dang, right place, right time for that.
Just a great deal right there, man. That was probably the best deal I've ever done.
Yeah.
And the second best deal I've ever done, same guy though.
So it was his last house?
That last house.
Yeah.
So we closed on that one. And then he goes, all right, so about that last house.
Uh-huh.
So he hit me up, and I was like, where's this house at? He said, it's in Fulton County. I was like, I don't even buy in Fulton County.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what area of Fulton County? He was like, it's in Fairburn. I was like, I have done a couple in Fairburn, but it's depending on what area of Fairburn.
Right.
I was like, let me go out and look at it. So he sent me the address. I went out there and looked at it. Another nice neighborhood. I get it there. I'm like, dang, this house looks good. Someone had been keeping up the yard. The house looked fantastic on the outside. Did not look beat up or nothing. Only thing that was wrong was the garage door was beat up, like a car had hit it or something.
Okay.
I was like, okay. So I walked around the house. I was able to break into the house because he said he didn't have keys for that house either. Yeah. So I break into that house without damaging nothing, and I get in. The house is completely empty, nothing in it. Almost rent ready, other than some wrappers and like trash on the floors, like newspapers and stuff.
Wow.
I was like, what? This house looks great. So I called Doug, and I'm like, I'm here. The house is empty. This house looks amazing.
Yeah.
What do you want for this? He said, I owe $96,000 on that one. Make me an offer. I said, what do you want? He goes, I'll take $100, so I'll make something. I said, Doug, I'll give you $117. You'll make $20,000 on it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Send me a contract.
Yeah.
Easiest deal ever. I bought it for $117. The neighbor walks over and goes, hey, do you own this house? I've been trying to get in touch with the owner for years. No, I'm about to buy it. He goes, how much you want for it? I said, I don't know. He goes, I got a friend that'll pay $230,000 for it as is right now. And I was like, let me think on it. So we get back to the office and everything. We start going through. We decided just to go ahead and list it.
Mm-hmm.
So we cleaned it out, replaced the garage door, and painted the inside. That was it. Very, very minor rehab. I'm talking like maybe $10,000 in that one.
Yeah.
So we're all in on that one, 127. We
Okay.
sold that one for $270.
Dang.
On market, like a week later. Those two deals were the best deals I've ever had, and they were both last year.
Was it that guy? Was he the one that offered that?
No.
Oh, he wasn't. So
No.
somebody else once you put it on
We
market.
sold it right then for $230.
Yeah, you could have.
A huge profit.
Yeah.
Over $100,000.
Yeah, but you rather just take it to market
We made
and see what you got.
something thousand on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
both of
awesome.
those, I mean, between those two deals alone, my two last deals from Doug, we made $260,000.
Hey, Doug's a good friend to keep around, man.
Yeah, Doug helped me out a lot. I mean, that's why I didn't want to take advantage of him, because when he said, he wanted like $97,000 for it, I'm like, nah, dude. Like,
yeah, you want to take care of him because he's helped you out.
I got to give you more. But, I mean, at the same time, though, he was in a situation where he absolutely had no idea how to manage properties, how to sell them, what to do about them, anything. I mean, he had been paying mortgage payments on all those properties, 12 properties, for years, with nobody renting them. Just making, I mean, you're talking $15,000 a month.
He just didn't get the whole managing side of it at all.
I mean, he was paying $15,000 a month for like 7 years and not making a dime. So, I mean, think about how much money he lost.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Bad situation for him, but I mean, it all worked out, and he made some money back. I got a really good profit on it, but the deals are out there. Those kind of deals are rare though.
Yeah,
because I'll be honest.
14 houses was.
Yeah, 12
14?
houses total.
12 houses total.
10 houses
okay.
originally, and then 2 more.
Okay.
That I didn't know about until later.
Oh wow.
So but yeah, I mean, most of the time, I mean, if I make 15 or 20 grand on a deal, I feel like that was a pretty good success. I mean, a lot of people have gotten spoiled because during COVID, when the prices were climbing and everything, I mean, people would buy a house thinking the ARV was 220 or something, and then like 3 months later, when they're done with rehab, it was worth 270.
Yeah,
they made like huge hits.
Yeah,
but that's going down now.
Has that hurt you at all as far as leaving out of COVID, coming into this market that we're in now? Because I know, especially with interest rates, it started killing people because not as many high offers are coming in anymore.
So like. I don't tell this side of the story a lot, or this side of the business a lot, but back in the summertime, I mean, we had bought several houses that we just didn't get around to flipping yet because we're buying 5-10 houses a month. Right. Sometimes they roll over a month or 2 or 3 months. And we got a house right now that we bought back in August of last year. We haven't even started rehab on it yet.
Really?
So, I mean, that's how busy we are.
Yeah.
So we try to keep all our contractors busy, and if we buy houses over here and they're all pretty relatively close, we'll just keep them rotating on those.
Okay.
Where this one's like an hour and a half away, so we just haven't had time to get our contracting crew over there to that one because it's just one random one on by itself.
Right.
So we have a house over there in LJ that we bought for $250 back in August, and it's worth like $450. We just haven't had it, and it needs like a $60K rehab. So it's a really good.
Wow. Yeah.
We just have not had our chance to get our.
It's just so far away. Yeah.
But on some other ones though, I mean, we bought a house last year. I think it was June or July. We bought one in Smyrna. I'm trying to think of the address off the top of my head. No, I can't remember. But anyways, we had a house we bought in Smyrna for $257 back last summer, and at the time the ARV was like $400 to $450. So we were like, shit, this is a good deal.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a good deal.
And the wholesaler had sent us a bunch of pictures of the property. It looked pretty good, so we bought it sight unseen for $250.
Okay.
Which we don't do very often.
Right.
We almost always go inspect the property.
At it, yeah.
But this one was like time was of the essence kind of thing. They were about to lose the house to foreclosure.
So you just had to swing at it.
Yeah, it was like 3 days before the auction date and all that stuff. They had tenants in the property. It was like multiple problem situation.
Right.
But they sent us a bunch of pictures. The house looked good in the pictures. So we bought it for $257. Like I said, ARV was pretty hot, so we were like, okay, this is a great deal. We got it. It took us about a month and a half to get the tenants out. Finally got the tenants out. We went over there to inspect it. House needs $170K rehab. I mean, they were living in like real bad situation. Like these tenants should not have been in this house.
Oh,
I'm talking mold, mildew everywhere. No HVAC. The house had no HVAC at all. The roof was like really, really rough, leaking in a few spots. The whole house needed full gut.
Yeah.
Not only that, it had foundation issues on the bottom too. So we're talking like everything that could possibly be wrong with the house was wrong with that house, and there were people living in it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, it's crazy how some people live, man.
Yeah. So you're talking $250,000. It's worth $400 on the low end. So you 170, you'd be at 420.
Yeah.
It's worth $450, maybe. All right. But by the time we finish rehabbing the house, it would take us about 6 months to rehab the house. So
yeah.
Now the market shifted.
Yeah.
So we're like, hey, let's hold off a little bit before we rehab this house. Let's see what the market does before we sink $170K into this house.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll go up to $500. But if it goes down, we're going to lose money.
Yeah.
So we decided to hold off. Well, fast forward to 2 weeks ago, we sold the house. We sold the house for $217.
Okay. Okay. So you just didn't do the rehab on it.
We did not do a rehab, and we lost almost $40,000.
Wow.
So bad deals are out there too.
Yeah.
I have got to be careful.
Yeah.
You know, watch how you're buying. We bought that one at the peak of the market.
Yeah.
We thought the market was going to keep climbing. So did a lot of other people.
Yep.
Yeah.
That shift is just,
You don't win them all.
No, you don't.
So there was actually several houses like that last year that we bought. That was the worst one. We lost, like I said, almost $40,000 on that one.
Yeah.
But there was a few other houses that we bought, similar situations, you know, between, let's say, June and October, that we took $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 losses on.
Yeah.
So we had about, I think, 5 houses total that we lost money on.
And that's just the luck of the market. I mean, nobody knows what it's going to do, but
now, you know, after October, we kind of slowed down for a little bit. So November, December, we didn't really buy, but like maybe 3 houses.
Yeah, I don't think nobody was buying in December.
Yeah,
November.
we was just kind of holding off. I mean, we bought a couple. I think we bought 3 or 4. But then we was like, hey, let's just take a break for the winter time, just kind of chill out, see what happens. And then January, I don't know what it was, but like 4 or 5 days after January hit, I mean, I was getting hit up like constantly with people. And I was just like, screw it, we're going full force, let's just do it. And then we just started buying up properties again. So in January, I think we bought 11 houses in January.
Wow.
And then February, we bought like 9. And then this month, let's see, I think in March we bought, I want to say 6 or 7.
Okay.
I don't know the exact number, but I think it was 6 or 7 this month.
How many are y'all on pace to flip this year? Like
our goal was to hit 100.
Okay.
For the year. It's going to be really tough because last year we did 60. I want to say it was 65 or 67, somewhere around that in that range, and then we bought 4 rentals last year. So
okay.
we basically bought 70 houses basically last year. And then this year we're trying to do 100.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're going to be able to hit 100, but...
Where y'all at right now?
So 11, 20, like almost 30.
Okay.
So it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible for sure.
But it's going to be tough, I mean, because not every month, you're not going to buy 10 houses every single month.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ain't going to happen.
You're going to have a big crew for that.
Yeah, I mean, but if we can do even 75 or 80 this year, I mean,
you're growing.
We'll be doing great.
Yeah.
So last year we, our company, I want to say our gross last year was like 3.8 million.
Okay.
And then total net, I don't remember what the total net was. We had it written down a couple weeks ago, but which basically though my goal is to at least grow that by like 20 or 30% this year.
Great.
So my goal is to hopefully have us hitting $5 million.
Yeah.
By the end of the year.
Have you taken any steps as far as like has anything changed from last year to this year to help you ensure that you can get more productivity out?
So last year we was outsourcing our video crew to we was paying about $3,000 a month, and we had a video crew that would link up with us once or twice a week.
Okay.
This year we pulled in our own full-time video guy.
Gotcha.
Like I said, we're paying him $50,000 a year, but he's working 5 days a week for us full-time on salary. And in addition to that, we've also added 2 new employees to our network. And also since last year, so last February I started a company called Chaotic Fund Recovery. So Chaotic Fund Recovery is essentially a company for collecting overages. So when a house goes to foreclosure, if we are let's say we're trying to buy a house that's in pre-foreclosure.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the seller would not work with us, or they wait till it's too late, we can't buy it. And it goes to auction and ends up selling to some hedge fund for $100,000 more than they owed on the house.
Right.
All right. Chaotic Fund Recovery, in that sense, will be able to basically reach out to them and say, hey, your house sold for $100,000 more than what you owed. We can collect that $100,000 for you for a small fee. So that's another thing that we're doing, is adding that in addition to buying houses. We're able to help people who lost their houses if there's any money owed to them.
I get you.
Just trying to add more resources available to us as well.
Right. Well, do you find that may be a problem if like if they got foreclosed on, they're having money problems, obviously. So do you think it may be an issue as far as them being able to pay the percentage back to you?
No, because we don't charge anybody anything unless we recover the money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so what happens is, like, let's say you owe $100,000 on your mortgage, and you lose your house.
Yeah.
And you get kicked out, and it goes to auction, and it sells for $200,000 to some hedge fund.
Yeah.
You have $100,000 that you don't even know about. Okay? We reach out to you, go, hey man, your house sold at auction for $200,000. You only owed $100,000 on it. There's a lot of money owed to you. Now, after there's a lot of liens, there's a lot of fees and stuff that the court charges and lawyers and all that stuff. So that stuff obviously is going to come off there. So you're not going to get $100,000.
Exactly.
And then our fees, because we have to hire lawyers to help fight it and get it.
Yeah.
So typically we charge 20 to 25% of whatever we get you. So,
okay.
Let's say there's $100,000 in funds. You take off maybe another 10 or 15% for all these other fees. So maybe.
Okay, so you're taking it out of how much they get back. Okay, I thought you were adding it on top.
So
okay.
Let's say you have $90,000 now, and then you take out our 25%. Now it's at like $65,000.
Okay.
You get a check for $65,000 in 3 months when we're done.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome.
And you didn't know you was going to get
right.
That.
You did, yeah.
And if I was to buy your house, most likely I'm not giving you $65,000.
Exactly.
So it actually works out in people's favor a lot of times.
Yeah.
Now, where it don't help anybody is if you bought your house 3 months ago, or 6 months ago, or a year ago, and there's no equity there, and then you lose your house.
Right. Then there's
obviously you're not going to make anything.
Exactly. Probably. Yeah.
So in those situations, it's best to try to sell your house subject to, or sell on the market and just get out from under it.
Have you got into that subject to at all?
Oh, we've bought 13 houses subject to in
the
last 5 years.
Okay, yeah.
So, I was doing subject to before anyone even knew Pace Morby was talking about subject.
Okay, yeah. So, I watched him talk about it too.
Pace Morby is obviously doing way more volume than I do. He knows way more about subject to than I do. And then you got like guys like Abraham Gray that do a lot of subject twos. And those guys are kings of Subject 2.
Yeah.
I mean,
they know stuff. They come out with stuff, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I'm not taking nothing away from them. They definitely know way more about Subject 2 than I am.
Yeah.
Than I do. But I have done 13 Subject 2s
right.
in 5
you got experience
years,
with
and
it.
I know how to do it. I know how to structure them. In fact, the last house I owned personally was a Subject 2 house. I bought it 3.5 years ago. Actually about 4 years ago now. Bought it 4 years ago from a buddy of mine who was wanting to walk away from it. And I was like, hey, I'll buy your house Subject 2. Here's how it works. I bought it from him. I ended up selling my personal home and moving into that home so I could save some money.
Oh, wow.
And I lived in that house for about 3 years while I stacked cash.
Yeah.
And then sold it and moved into my house in Canton about 6 months ago. So
awesome,
yeah,
man.
I did really good on that house. I made about $80,000 and $90,000 profit on that.
Did you say you just held on to it and then you sold whenever you moved?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. How do you feel as far as like, because we talk about it all the time here in the office and stuff, just talking about like the news articles and everything coming out, constantly saying like, oh, there's a housing bubble, you know, there's issues in the market, it's going to crash. What's like your take? How do you feel about all the news coming out? I just feel like they're scaring everybody.
I don't want to scare anybody worse, but I feel like there's definitely something to be worried about in some sense of it. We're living in uncertain times. I mean, I want to point out this. All right, so back in 2008, right, we had hundreds of banks go down. Yeah. Hundreds of banks went bankrupt.
Right.
So that's one of the things I've seen a lot of people talk about. Well, like, oh, well, in 2008, there was hundreds of banks that went out. This year, there's only been like 3 or 4, right?
Right.
The biggest one being SVB and the second one being that one in New York, right? So everybody's like, oh, well, we've only had a couple of bank failures this year, so it's not a big deal.
Right. Because they fail every year.
Yeah, but here's the difference, though. In 2008, there was I believe there was it was either 170 or 190 bank failures. Mm-hmm. You have to check it on Google because I don't know, but I know it was a lot. It was like over 100 and something.
Right.
All those banks were small, like
mom and pop.
Yeah, like they were small banks.
Yeah.
So like before 2008, everybody was getting into real estate because it was booming.
Yeah.
You know, like pre-2008, 2005 to 2008, everybody was getting in.
Right.
At the peak, I mean, everybody was making a killing. Lenders were charging out the ass for stuff, and like people were doing those loans and stuff, like no income loans and stuff like that. And
adjustable loans.
Variable rate loans and all that stuff. So like back then, like everything was going.
Yeah.
And that's what caused the crash, right?
Yeah.
But then all these banks crashed because they were new up and coming banks that had no structure, no foundation under them. They were kind of new banks. So there was not a lot of money. If I remember correctly, there was like 190 banks in 2008 that crashed, and their entire net worth of all 190 banks was not even like, I want to say it was like $300 million. It wasn't even a lot.
Wow, yeah.
Not in comparison.
Yeah, no.
SVB, when they crashed, it was the 16th largest bank in the United States, and it was a bank for startups.
Yeah.
It was basically all the rich people that wanted to invest their money into startup company stuff was investing their money into that bank.
Yeah.
All right. The problem is that bank, when it crashed, had over $200 billion in assets.
Yeah.
So you're talking one bank that crushed the 190 banks that crashed in 2008.
Yeah.
Completely different scenario.
Right.
So in my opinion, that is something to be a little bit more concerned about. Mm-hmm. You have a large, very, very prominent big bank. I mean, that'd be like Wells Fargo or something going out.
Right.
Like, that's a big deal.
But could you also blame it on the fact that they definitely mismanaged their money?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, you can just tell because, I mean, everybody got fired. There's no way you just go out of business that quick if you didn't do something wrong.
Yeah, the problem was they were over-investing and not keeping enough liquid to cover pullouts.
That's exactly right.
When people get nervous, they want to go pull out the money, and if they don't have the money to do it, well, hey, guess what? You're going to file bankruptcy.
Yep.
That's a big problem. But then, on top of that, man, you got so many other problems going on right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you got China just linked up with Russia. They're getting rid of the U.S. dollar as far as their.
I was actually listening to something about that this morning, which is crazy if that happens. Because I mean, where's it going to put us though?
Yeah, like the dollar is, it's going down.
Yeah,
it's not it don't mean as much as what it used to. Mm-mm. So like, the economy has sunken. I mean, the economy's not doing good over here right now.
Yeah, no.
We're overinflated. You got banks crashing. Interest rates have skyrocketed. Like even for a rental property loan, right? For an investment loan, minimum 6.5%.
Yeah.
Minimum, and it goes up from there. So I mean, like a couple of years ago, you could have got an investment loan for like 4%, 3%, something like that.
Yeah.
And then same thing with like your personal homes and stuff like that. So like personal interest rate, less than 2 years ago was 1.5%, 2%, 3%. Now the average is 6.5.
Yeah. It is like 6.5. It helps some people though, like as far as home buyers go, because like, I mean, it kind of just depends on your situation, but like if you're offering 50K, 60K over asking price, I mean, once you look at the long-term thing, you're losing out more money than paying that 6.5 interest rate.
Are you?
I'm thinking so. I'm thinking you're losing out on like 70K.
Have you done the
depending on the prices?
Schedule?
Have
you ever done the amortization schedule?
Yeah, I've done it before.
Yeah, so like I'll give you an example. Like, actually, I could probably pull it up right now and do it real quick.
Go ahead.
So this will be an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
But I'll show you this. So like for my house, so I financed $520,000 for my house and paid the rest in cash. So let me do an amortization schedule on mine real quick, and I'll show you kind of what the difference would have been last year or 2 years ago versus now.
Yeah.
So if I bought my house for $520,000, let's do this real quick. 520,000, 30 years at, we'll just go with 3%.
Okay.
All right. We would be looking at total interest paid over 30 years, $270,000, buying it for $790 total.
Right.
Okay, so $270,000 over the life of the loan.
Yeah.
$2,200 monthly payment. Okay. Versus now, same thing, but my interest rate, because I bought it 6 months ago, was actually 6%.
Okay.
All right. I don't care because I'm going to be paying it off early anyway.
Yeah.
But now you're talking total loan $1.1 million.
Yeah.
All right. $600,000 in interest. You literally 3x'd. For every 1%, you're talking 100% interest on $100,000.
Right.
So you're literally paying $100,000 more.
Yeah.
For the house for every 1% interest you go up.
But which you could always refinance as well.
If it ever goes down.
But
I mean, think about it in terms of 1980s, 1990s.
Yeah.
Even early 2000s. The interest rate was hovering at 10, 12, 13% for years.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I've talked to people back then. They were like, people complaining about interest rates now. I mean, we were at like a 12, 13.
It's not that bad. To me, it's not a big deal, though, because it needed to happen. Because, we was basically on a roller coaster ride.
Yeah. We got to correct that inflation somehow.
Yeah, I mean, and the houses prices were just getting absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, they were.
And now, though, it's crazy, though, because here's what I'm seeing a lot now is people can't buy the same house because they can't afford the payment now.
Yeah.
So, like, if you was looking for a $500,000 house 2 years ago or even a year ago, now you're having to look for a $300,000 house or a $250,000 house because that's the same payment you're going to pay.
Exactly.
So to get a $500,000 house now, you're going to be paying $2,000 more a month.
Yeah. So, which it drops a lot of buyers out of the market because a lot of people,
Which I think is what's helping us right now is that there's not as many buyers looking for houses now because they're afraid to get into that monthly payment. So allowing more houses to kind of hit the market and people are kind of more desperate to sell. They're willing to take a little bit lower money on their house because they need to sell it.
Right. We were looking at the numbers and charts about it this week, and there's still like so much demand for homes. Like people want to buy homes.
Oh yeah.
But the fact of the supply is down. The interest rates, it's just keeping people from buying.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of people out there that want to buy.
Yeah. I got a good friend of mine who's looking for a house right now, and his budget last year, he got, pre-approved last year for a loan.
Okay.
But they were like, hey, you need to work on your credit and stuff. So he's like, okay, I'll just wait a little while. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So his credit was in like the 500s. So he was looking for a house last year, and they were like, if you can get your credit up to like 650, we can approve with your income and everything, we can approve you for probably like $450,000 to $500,000 house.
Okay.
Well, now he just went to get it pre-approved again because he's gotten his credit up now. to like the 650, 660
And it's
market.
probably
So
not that market that they were saying.
Now they're saying he can only get approved for $220,000 house.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to find a $220,000 house now that is any decent at all, unless you go out in the boonies.
Exactly.
Like, pretty much your threshold now is $300,000 or up.
Yep.
If you're buying anything under that, it's either in not such a desirable area or it might need a little bit of work.
Yeah.
I mean, not saying you can't find them. I mean,
there's definitely some out there for sure.
You know, we got a couple houses like I got a house in Winston that we're renovating right now, and we're going to be selling it for probably like the 270 range.
Okay.
It's a beautiful house.
Yeah.
But like, it's crazy because like a couple years ago, that house that was a $150,000 house a couple years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, man. It's wild.
And inflation's not keeping up.
No.
So it's like the houses are worth more, the cars are worth more, but people are still getting paid the same amount of money.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
And I mean,
And then not only are they getting paid the same, but the dollar is becoming
less worth. Yeah. So. And I mean, you get we were talking about this earlier, or maybe it was last week, but just talking about like young people, like they can't the average age for a first-time home buyer just recently went up again. It was at like 32 or 34. It's at like 36 now, which is crazy. Like there's a bunch of younger people that aren't getting married anymore. Yeah. They wait to get married because they want to be financially set or have a home, but they can't buy a home till they're 30. Yeah. So it's like it's dragging the families down. It's dragging down productivity in the market, and just you can't start building a family now until way later in life. Yeah. And it really sucks for like this generation kids coming up because they work the jobs. And that's another thing when people are complaining about people not working. It's like, well, I mean, I could go work at McDonald's, but like I can't live off of that. I mean, I could go get a job, but can I live off of what they pay me?
Well, another thing too that I've noticed is I feel like the market is purposely driving buyers out. Mm-hmm. And hedge funds and corporations, stuff like that, are buying up all these properties and stuff. And now I'm starting to see a whole lot of these build-to-rent communities too.
Yeah.
Which I believe that we're slowly forming the United States into a rental market.
Yep.
So eventually, like, it might not be this generation, it might not be the next generation, but definitely in our grandkids' generation, they'll be pretty much only renting.
Yeah, like, it's coming.
Definitely within our lifetime. Yeah. I definitely foresee that home ownership will be an extreme luxury. If you own a house, it's because you're wealthy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I've heard some people say like Michael, he's an agent here, and we talked about it back and forth. He was like, I would almost bet like in the next 5 years, if you don't own a home, it's going to be almost impossible for you to own a home.
I don't know if it'll be that soon, but I definitely feel like
it's a quick turn for him. But
yeah.
I mean,
I definitely feel like in our lifetime, though, it will be an extreme luxury. If you own a house, it's because you're rich or you're extremely smart and was able to hold on to it long enough.
Yep, exactly.
But for the most part, it will be almost impossible to own a house within the next 50 years.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Like, shoot, just in the last 2 years, I've seen at least a dozen build-to-rent communities being built up just in our local market.
Oh, yeah.
Like Canton, Woodstock, Alpharetta, and stuff. I've seen multiple communities. In fact, a friend of my son's, his parents, they just moved into a rental community.
Okay.
And over here in Canton, and I went over there and I was like, hey, how much are these houses selling for? She goes, I don't know. They're renting it. I was like, all the houses? And the entire neighborhood, 360 houses in this neighborhood, every single one of them, it was literally built to rent only. And they're renting for like $2,600 a month.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's a mortgage.
Yeah. It's insane. It's insane.
But yeah, I mean, and that goes back to, again, it just being too hard for people to buy homes now. Yeah. Like it's getting harder. So I think we are going to start trending more towards a rental market. And that's what Grant Cardone, and I watch a lot of Grant Cardone and stuff. That's what he says, the people that are going to be able to afford homes and stuff like that are the people who are renting out and cash flowing some kind of way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely see the rentals taking over for sure.
Yeah. For anyone watching this, if you don't own, you better jump on that bandwagon.
Yeah. Give me a call. Give me a call and let's do it.
Call it. See if you can't go ahead and buy you something sometime soon.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I wanted to ask you this too, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna ask everybody that comes on this question. If you had some advice for somebody who was just first starting off, like dead broke, doesn't know how they're going to pay their bills, whatever, they want to get started, what would you suggest for them to get them to start on their real estate journey?
I always tell everybody, keep it simple. Like, don't overthink it. Like, I see way too many people jump into real estate, and they're like, I need this system, I need this software, I need that, I need this, I need to go to this networking event.
Start spending money before you even make any.
Like, stop spending money. Drive for dollars. Literally get in your vehicle, drive around, look for vacant houses, write down the addresses, look up on tax records who owns them, give them a call, send them a letter, find them on Facebook, send them a message, text them, call them, whatever you got to do to get in touch with them. It's free, guys.
Yep.
I mean, you're only spending money on gas. Other than that, Facebook. I mean, think about it. Facebook's the biggest social media company app in the world.
Yep.
Besides TikTok, and I'll guarantee you, most of your target audience is going to be on Facebook.
Yep, that's exactly right.
I'd say 90% of people that own a house probably have a Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
That sounds pretty accurate.
That's their audience.
Most of my leads come from Facebook.
Yep.
Get on Facebook, get on yard sale groups, get on your Facebook page, talk to your friends, your parents, whatever. Hey, does anybody have a house they want to sell? I'd like to buy it. Learn how to wholesale. There's a lot of free information on YouTube and Google. You do not have to go to pay for gurus and classes and stuff like that. It's all free. If anyone wants to learn, I don't really promote that because I don't do coaching. But if anyone has any specific questions that they're not aware of, they can always reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram or something like that. I'll try to give you some advice if you have any. If you have any specific questions you want to ask me. But other than that, man, just keep it simple. Like, there's no reason to overcomplicate it. You do not have to hire a virtual assistant right out of the gate.
Yeah.
There's no reason to have all these apps and softwares. I mean, I did it for 2 years without nothing. Yeah. I mean, no apps at all for 2 years.
Right.
Just driving around.
Yeah, it's. I think most people have a problem just putting themselves out there.
I think the biggest problem is people don't have the hustle and grind.
That's true too.
It's laziness.
That's true too.
Opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I even have like some guys on my team, like some of my employees.
Yeah.
You know, they just don't put in the work that is necessary to get consistent deals.
Right.
You have to put in the work. If you're not putting in the work, you're not gonna get deals. Period. I have people that come in here. I've had people that I've trained and stuff to do this, and they'll spend 3 months looking for deals. They don't get a deal, and they're like, "I give up. This is hard." Okay, it's not hard. It's just that you weren't putting in as much work as I do.
Yeah.
I can promise you.
Yeah, I mean, I like to look at it as in like you're going to the gym. Like, you're not going to walk in the gym first day you work out and come out swole, jack, like looking like The Rock walking out. It's consistency and doing it every single day.
Yep. You're not going to see results until, you take a picture of yourself now. You go to the gym every day for a whole year and then take a picture at the end of the year.
No,
you're going to see results.
You'll see results.
But if you take a picture today and then you take a picture tomorrow and look, you're not going to see no results.
No difference.
There's not going to be a difference.
That's exactly
right.
That's
the problem is people, they'll do it for a week. They'll do it for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 3 months.
Yeah.
But then if they have not hit no results, they just give up.
Yeah, they don't want the delayed gratification. They want that dopamine hit as soon as they start.
A great book is Atomic Habits. Have you read that book?
Okay, I have not read that one.
It's crazy that you were mentioning like the gym scenario because that gets put in the book quite a few times.
Oh, does it?
And I love that that philosophy on that. But Atomic Habits is a great book, and it talks about this exact thing. You want to build momentum and consistency. You have to be persistent with it. You do one thing one day, you're not going to see no results. You do it 2 days, you're probably not going to see no results. You do it 3 days, not going to see results. Yep. If you do it every day for months, years, oh my God, you're going to definitely see results.
100%.
Think about it in terms of if you can get 1% better. Don't think of it as, man, I wish I was like 100% better than I am now. Okay, if you can just get 1% better every single day for a whole year, in 1 year you'll be 360% better.
That's exactly right.
Okay? Because you're getting 1% better every single day for a whole year. Okay? You do that 2 years, 3 years. You're always getting better.
Yep.
So just, and don't look at it as a competition either. The only person you should be competing with is
yourself. Yeah. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You should, hope to see everybody succeed, but just make sure you succeed. Like, battle with yourself to make sure that you succeed. That's the biggest battle that you got, because like you said, people are lazy. You got to battle with yourself to get up and go and do it.
Another thing too is I see way too many people comparing themselves to other people.
Oh yeah, you can't do it. You'll get discouraged quick.
Yeah,
you can't do it.
Look at it like this, right? I started my real estate journey at 28.
Yeah.
Okay, 28 years old. I know guys that started at 18 that are making more money than me now.
Yeah.
Like, still. Like, guys, I mean, I make good money.
Yeah.
But I know guys that are 23, 24 years old that are already millionaires. Fact.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
In my circle, I know 23, 24-year-old people that are way more wealthy than me.
Yeah.
Okay? I know guys that are 10 years younger than me that have multiple exotic cars and a mansion and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, like, what?
Yeah.
What did I do wrong in life? But everybody's journey is different. I know people that started real estate when they were 60.
Yeah. There's not an age limit on it.
You cannot compare yourself to other people because everybody's journey is different. Everybody's journey is going to be different in some way. It don't matter if you start at 19. Don't matter if you start at 50. I got a guy on my team. I got a guy that's employed with me. He's 54 years old. He just started 3 years ago.
Yeah.
He's a hustler.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. He's a truck driver during the day, and he works, doing real estate whenever he can on the side, part time. There's no age limit. There's nothing stopping you but you. But there's a big misunderstanding with people where they're like, they think if someone else is doing it that they can't do it.
Yeah.
Or if they think, oh well, he's older, so he's got more experience than I do.
Yep.
Guys, there's guys that are way younger than me, killing it right now. And there's guys that are older than me that don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
So it just depends on where you are in life and what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. But just keep hustling, keep working, keep grinding, and most importantly, just start.
Right.
If you want to go down this journey, start now. Do not keep waiting, because the longer you wait, the longer that's going to, push you to not succeed and not get there.
That's exactly right. I know you got to go here in a minute, so I just want to kind of last question here for you.
All right.
So what is like the end goal for you? Like I know you're in the the flips and the rentals right now, and I know we talked a little bit before, and you were kind of talking about expanding into the multifamily. Yeah. Like, what's your end goal? Where do you want to be at? Like, what do you want to be doing?
So I started in real estate and wholesaling. I graduated to fix and flips, and I actually never really wanted rentals. I just wanted to keep doing the fix and flips.
Yeah.
But as I did more and more fix and flips, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And for a while we weren't buying because I was just like, hey, I want to postpone some stuff. So then I started thinking about, I was like, man, if I had rentals right now, I'd at least be having some passive income coming in,
Right, yeah.
So then I started stacking up rentals, which now we have just under 10 rentals.
Okay.
Where our goal is to have 20 rentals before the end of this year. So we're going to keep working on that. But my next move, I guess, I want to keep doing the fix and flips. I want to keep stacking rentals, but my eventual goal is to get into multifamily. I would love to own maybe like 100, 150 unit apartment building.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe some industrial parks would be cool. But really my end goal is just to keep making money, keep growing. I want to maybe acquire some other businesses. And most importantly, I just want to have fun and enjoy life and have some freedom to do kind of whatever I want to do. And
that is a common theme that I see, is like, it's not really a money amount that people want. It's just the fact that they can do what they want when they want, and enjoy time with their family and things like that.
I mean, think about it like this, because 10 years ago I was working 2-3 jobs at a time to make a quarter of what I make now.
Right.
Maybe,
Yeah.
There was at one point I was a car painter, powder coater, and I was painting airplanes for Delta and truck driving on the side. I was working 4 jobs. I was sleeping maybe an hour a day, if that. And I was barely under $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
It was like, what? I mean, I literally never seen my family ever.
Yep.
For like 2 years.
Wow.
I was doing that.
Wow.
And it damn near killed me.
Yeah.
I was also in the worst shape of my life. Like, it was just like, all I was doing was working. I was just in bad health, eating whatever I could get, drinking Red Bulls like crazy and stuff. Like, take care of your health, guys.
Exactly.
And focus on your goals and get to start building your dream and get to a point where you can kind of do whatever you want. I mean, I'm at the point now, my schedule is pretty hectic most days.
Yeah,
I'm a hustler. I like to work.
That's exactly right.
I can take off pretty much whenever I want. I can just all I have to do is have a couple days notice and move schedules around stuff, and I can go ride dirt bikes for the day, go to the lake for the day, hang out with my kids, whatever.
Yeah, man.
Most days I try to get home by 2:30 so I can pick up my son from school.
Yeah.
So I mean, guys, that's the goal. The goal is to not bust your ass working 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week.
That's exactly right.
To barely get by.
Yeah.
Like, figure out a way to start building passive income, or figure out a way to increase your active income a lot.
Yep.
Which, that's what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
I got the flips for active income. I got the rentals for passive income.
Yeah.
And I want to build that up.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, I seen something about Grant Cardone said this again too. He's just got so many good sayings for me. But he said, he was talking to this one guy at an event he was at, and he was like, you know what, I work harder than you. And he was like, okay. He was like, what does that mean? Like, how do you measure that? He was like, I don't know how much I work at all. He was like, well, I just know I put in more hours than you. He was like, well, I don't know how you know that, but he said, well, instead of talking about how much harder you work than me, let's talk about how much money we make and see who has the most. You know what I mean? So it's not always how hard you work. The people that work the hardest don't end up becoming financially free at all.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And there's a lot of people that have a misunderstanding that, working harder equates to more money.
It doesn't.
And I used to think that too.
Yeah.
I was working 3-4 jobs.
Yeah.
It didn't make me more money.
You can't save your way to getting rich.
You got to figure out a way to increase the money without working as much.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, I work a lot.
Yeah.
I do. I do work a lot because I enjoy working, and I actually like doing real estate. So I am working a lot.
Yeah, and you have fun doing it.
But you got to also figure out a way to kind of work smarter and use other people and other resources to your advantage. And in real estate, the biggest resource is networking.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
Honestly, if you can just network and build relationships.
That's how we met.
You don't have to really work as hard.
Yeah.
Because I have realtors and wholesalers and other investors sending me deals all the time.
Yep.
To where I don't have to go door knock houses anymore.
Exactly.
I have people bring me deals, and that's awesome.
Yep.
So if y'all are a wholesaler or investor,
yeah, hit them up. Hit them up.
Or hit up Blake, and
hit me up too.
He'll send them to me.
That's exactly right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I love doing these.
Yeah.
It's good seeing you again, and finally putting a face to a name. We've been friends on Facebook for how long?
Yeah,
years at least.
Years, yeah. Back before I even was licensed.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. You've come a long way, and it's been cool seeing you grow.
I appreciate it, man, and I enjoy seeing you grow too. I love the social media stuff. I watch it all the time.
We're gonna keep growing and growing together, and hopefully getting some more deals. And
let's do something together. Absolutely. We've had some that just haven't worked out, but we need to get one. We need to get one closed together for sure.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and everybody at home. Hope you have a good time and enjoy the rest of your day. Appreciate y'all watching.